The fundamental basis of who she is an artist. That's what she's always been, that's how she was born.
So Mom started the art show, I believe, just out of her passion for her art itself. I believe she tried to show some of her own work in a local exhibit, and she was denied. She was told that her work was juvenile, and it kind of irritated her and saddened her. So she thought, well, art is for everyone, and we're going to include everyone. And that was really what the art show was born out of, was a non-critical opportunity for anyone and everyone to show their work. And in those years that she did it, it was a tremendous thing. And she didn't really do it for notoriety. She legitimately wanted people to have an opportunity to express and show themselves and their various mediums of art.
What are my thoughts about the art show being in its 10th year? Well, to be totally honest, originally I thought it'd go maybe 2-3 years. And then when Mom passed away, I thought, well, it'll probably go a couple more. But this is 10 now, so that's 5 without her. So it's awesome. I think it's really great. It's a good legacy to leave behind. I like it. I like it a lot.
One of the things that I really, really admired about Vera was the way that she encouraged artists, especially young artists. She wanted to make sure that they knew that their skill, whatever their skill level was, that they were an artist. She wanted them to feel special. She wanted them to not be disenchanted, to keep going, to keep creating, to keep inspiration alive. And you know, she would always say, "It's beautiful, just the way you made it," you know, things like that. And it was just such a great thing to see her talk to people that way. That's part of her legacy too, is remembering how she used to encourage other people. It's really special. I think when Vera looks down on what we're doing from wherever she's at now, I think she's really proud of us.
Why is Mom's story worth being told? Well, I really think that you have to know long ago in the story. You know, Mom came to the United States on a boat with my grandparents and her sister and a couple of suitcases, and that was it. My mom didn't even become a United States citizen until 2008. She's come a long, long way. She went a long way in her life, I think, and then from there we build and go forward. But I think the story is worth telling because of all the things from that very beginning to all the different things that happen through life where you could just give up. And you don't give up, you keep on moving and keep on doing better. And I think she did great in the end.
She was a 6-year-old who spoke only German. And so integrating into the public schools and such was a kind of a challenge for her. She developed a severe stutter as she tried to learn the language and acclimate, which she eventually overcame, but she grew up, went to Lake Central High School.
I have pictures of her in the 50s in Cedar Lake on vacation as a small child. So she always loved Cedar Lake, and when she married my father, she wanted to live nowhere but Cedar Lake. So in the mid-60s, my mom moved to Cedar Lake, Indiana, and she loved being part of, this was an opportunity for her to be part of the Cedar Lake community, so she did it, and she did it all the way.
Her passions, her hobbies, aside from swimming and outdoors, were cooking, baking, painting in different mediums, watercolors, oils, acrylics. She also really loved sewing, obviously. She was a seamstress. There was a period in time where she was an upholsterer. She just had this broad range of hobbies and interests.
She has an ability that I think that sets a lot of people aside like her, but in a unique ability to actually see things as they really are. She kept a camera handy. She took thousands of pictures. If she saw something that struck her, she took a picture of it, and then she would add that to the stack on her art desk. So when she wanted to paint something, she would go through the pictures and pick one that was inspiring, and that's how she would paint.
Mom loved to go on adventures. Her and Richard would go on adventures, and if she saw something that just spoke to her in the countryside, she'd take a picture of it. There are a lot of pictures of her grandchildren as well. So I think she just took inspiration wherever she saw it.
I mean, everything she did was a creative work. You know, that was who she was. So, I mean, she was an artist first, and then she learned these skills and applied, and it came through in that.
So the garden is a little masterpiece in itself. I think that her love of gardening really is rooted in her love of cooking.
It was something. I mean, it was a flower garden and it was a vegetable garden. It was not a vegetable garden or a flower garden. If you walked through it, it was absolutely beautiful, but as you walked through it, you could harvest. You could not come to our home, and if it was time to eat, you know, she was going to feed you. There wasn't a question about that. I don't think she thought of it as a gift. I don't think she thought of it at all.
I would say that my favorite art form of hers, because she was very talented in several areas. She was a beautiful watercolorist and just her garden was gorgeous, but it was her food. She made food into an art form, and it not only looked beautiful, it tasted amazing. But it was just, she showed how much she cared about people by lavishing food on them, which was great. We all benefited from that here at the organization, and really enjoyed when Vera was contributing to the potluck or helping make the hors d'oeuvres for a special event or something like that. She really elevated the way that we used to, you know, present receptions and things like that. And that was because that artistic eye was always coming out in everything that she had done. I think that the beginnings of our culinary anthropology program definitely were sparked by Vera's participation at the museum. It was not anything we ever set out to do, but what I realized after watching her and the way that she had with food and how she would, again, turn it into an art form, that then planted those seeds that came to fruition years later in like 2024, when we started considering food to be a way that we could tell Cedar Lake history.
We keep a picture of Mom up on the wall just because she inspired this thing. Mom and I talked for years about creating a pie shop or something of that nature. We never got it off the ground, and then shortly after Mom passed, and she died in 2019, in 2020, I actually launched Baked a Cookie Company. It's like, well, we talked about it long enough, now I gotta do it. So, started out with one cookie, just disc golf tournaments, stuff like that. And along the way, I always hoped that if Mom knew, she'd be proud of what was going on. So, try to do things right. We make all sourdough bread. There's no commercial yeast at Baked. So all the bread and about half the cookies use sourdough starter. The way it works out here is that the top of the loaf, the line on the top is for Mom, and then each pair going down, all 5, are for the 5 kids. So myself, my brother Chris, my sister Laura, my sister Anne, and my brother John. It's just a matter of doing what Mom said and go 100% all at it, all in, and do it right. And now I can focus not just on this, but what this can do for the community. Like, I can donate to things that are going on. I've been able to donate to the disc golf community before coming into here, and now you know, if there's extra bread or whatnot left over at the end, it either goes to a women's shelter or the food pantries.
To see her legacy now carry on in this new way through her children, absolutely incredible. It helps to keep her spirit alive. It's just wonderful. We're so excited here to be able to see that he's bringing his own dreams to life, but I think they're dreams that, were founded by that foundation that Vera established, and it's really great.
My mom was not caught up on money or concerns like that. I mean, her motivation was purely, almost always, through generosity. She somehow managed to open a clothing company in Crown Point at the time, and called a Very Special Sewing Company, where she made custom clothing for people. And she would sketch her designs as you'd see in a movie or something, and make those. And then she would hire her friends to be models.
Custom made from scratch, wedding dresses, and just the full line. People who had specific deformities would come to her for their custom clothes that they couldn't go shop. I remember one particular man had a hunchback, and she just adored him. They developed this great friendship, and she would make him his suits and things that he needed, for church or what have you. So
she wanted to help people. She always wanted to help people. She knew what it was to struggle. She expected nothing in return for anything she ever did for anybody. I mean, one time she picked up a lady hitchhiking on the road, and on that very day signed her car over to this person and gave her car away. I mean, she was a giver.
We always talk here at the museum about how important it is to share history, and one of the ways that you can do that is by sharing oral history. You would gather and collect information about their life to be able to tell their story, and we didn't have that opportunity with Vera, so the reason that we decided to go ahead and make this documentary was so that we could preserve all of those things that made her special, that made her unique, that really show the impact of her legacy here at the museum.
What would Mom's legacy be? Well, I would say that her legacy would have to be, first off, us, my brother, my sister, myself, because in our own way we're all successful. If I look at where we are today, it's so far beyond where we were when we were kids, right? Things were a struggle a lot of times when we were kids, financially and whatnot. And other than that, I would say the biggest legacy has to be, other than the art show, just the people whose lives she touched along the way. I mean, there are those people I told you about who would come to dinner. She'd have them coming to dinner because she knew they couldn't afford to feed their kids or whatnot. And those things have stuck with those people forever. They're still friends today, and some of them come here all the way from Cedar Lake to come to the bakery and look and see what things are. And then the art show. I mean, the most publicly visible one is the art show.
I think if my mom knew that the art show was still continuing and that we were in the 10th year now, I can just imagine her crying in heaven, to be honest. I think she would be overwhelmed with honor and joy that her legacy, I guess, continues. And she would just be thoroughly honored. I think that acceptance and tolerance was really important for my mom. Obviously, that was her first initiation into the United States, the American society, was being a German immigrant and sometimes not really fitting in. And so maybe feeling that a little bit of a sense of natural rejection, I think, later on being told no with her art inspired her to open this up. And I think it's just so important for people in general to not be continually criticized, but to be allowed to just be who they are. Just be who you are, whatever that is. And don't be afraid to let that show.